Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Probably OK's Topical Rainforest, where we pick 3 topics and then choose one to discuss amongst each other. You're here with Mike, that's me, and our 2 other co-hosts, Jeremy and Sean.
Hey.
Billy D. Williams here. How y'all doing?
It's actually Jeremy. He's pretending to be Billy D. Williams, but he's not.
He could be if he wants to be. It's up to him. All right, so here we go.
This podcast is going great so far.
We're good at this. Let me start out with our 3 topics.
Wait, so how does this podcast work, Mike?
I thought I told you that already.
Wait, tell me again.
I choose 3 random topics. And then we, amongst each other, decide which one we want to talk about.
How do we vote on it?
We don't vote, man. This is not a democracy.
Is it?
We don't.
Is it like if Jeremy and I vote for one thing and you vote for another? So it's like majority, right?
It's majority.
Majority. Okay.
Basically, I am majority. So whatever I choose wins.
Awesome. I am so excited to enter the podcast community. This is so exciting. I know, like, it's the cool new thing, and I think we're probably going to be one of the best podcasts, most listened to podcasts out there. So I'm really excited. I think Probably OK is finally going to have its day in the sun. So
yeah, very newfangled thing.
Yeah,
it's what all of the hip new generation are doing.
Yeah,
podcasts. Yeah. So we are on top of things. We are staying ahead of the trend. We are very edgy.
Yeah,
that's what we do. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely not a majority vote. Basically, we'll take a look at these 3 randomly generated topics,
and
then I think just by how interesting we find them, we'll just the 3 of us choose one.
So, but like, what if we don't agree?
Too bad.
I don't know.
Then we gotta vote.
That's definitely something we'll find out. We'll see what happens.
Okay, let's get those topics going. Come on, let's go. I'm ready.
Number 1.
Okay.
Topic number 1. Boredom. So generally the idea of boredom. What is boredom? What do you do when you're bored? Yeah, boredom. Topic number 1. Topic number 2. Optimism.
Ooh.
Very interesting.
I like that one. That one sounds great. I'm so excited about that one, Mike.
Yeah, me too.
The other one makes me bored.
Boredom makes
me bored. That
topic
kind
is
of boring.
It's kind of a tired topic. It's not something that you can really explore in much depth.
Yeah.
But optimism, on the other hand, very, very good topic.
It's a great topic.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
Worst restaurant experience.
Ooh, I don't know, man. That sounds pretty good.
That could be a good topic.
Yeah.
It's more of a storytelling topic, though. Really.
Yeah.
Than a conversation topic. Well, I guess it could be a conversation topic. It depends.
I know Jeremy's, but I don't know if he wants to talk about it on the podcast.
No, I don't.
No, he doesn't want to.
I feel like my worst restaurant experience would just turn into a rant session.
Yeah, a rat session, talking about all the rats.
A rat. There weren't any rats. Well, actually, there might have been rats. That could have been why the restaurant experience was so bad.
Okay. So I guess we don't want to do. We were really excited about restaurant stories, and then we decided not to do it.
Well, I didn't say that I wouldn't talk about my worst. I just said that I don't want to.
My worst restaurant experience.
Jeremy, which one do you want to do?
Restaurant experience probably is the one I want to do the most. But
what do you want to do, Mike?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have boredom as a topic. We have worst restaurant experiences. Or we have optimism. And I think optimism is just too optimistic of a topic. We can't talk about that.
Yeah, I want to be negative on this podcast.
We're all about negativity.
Yeah, being drama sells on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're actually putting this podcast on YouTube because that's where podcasts go.
Yeah.
Podcasts.
That's why
thrive.
people go on YouTube. They want to listen to podcasts.
YouTube.
They have to get the red version, though. YouTube Red, to listen without having the screen opened, which is really obnoxious.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But YouTube Red is
the
not
topic.
good. Okay, so Mike, you want to do the restaurants too?
Yeah.
Okay, let's enter the rainforest, the topical rainforest.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my first thought when it comes to worst restaurant experiences, and honestly, I don't think this is a very interesting one. But
are you gonna start?
I am gonna start this.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of my worst restaurant experience, there was a place. It was a local restaurant, and I don't even remember the name except that it had the word "local" in the name of it, so you kind of get a sense of, of what it was. And it was recommended to me. It had very natural stuff like beans and sprouts, and it was supposed to be really good. So I took my family there. I said, hey, this is a really great place. We should check it out. We were going to make an evening of it. It was going to be a great experience.
Did you tell them that they had beans and sprouts?
I might have failed to mention that.
Are your parents big fans of legumes?
Yeah, they really are, though. So it would have been helpful if I had mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I said it's a... it was like a Mexican restaurant, so it was supposed to be like tacos and quesadillas, and you know how you always get the chips and salsa when you go to a Mexican restaurant?
Yeah,
and
they're all the same, basically. It's weird. Like every Mexican restaurant I go to, they always have the same exact stuff.
It's what you're supposed to have.
It's like there's a rule. It's like if you start a Mexican restaurant, you have to sign an accord that says like you will serve beans with a little bit of cheese on top and some rice, and you'll have a never-ending thing of chips with some watery salsa. And
chips and salsa are a necessity, and it has to be unlimited.
Yeah, you have to have those things.
When you go into a Mexican restaurant,
yeah,
do you expect to be asked the question, do you want any appetizers? And I would say no. You expect those chips and that salsa to be on the table.
It's free, too.
It's free. It's unlimited. It's free. It comes with a meal. You do not expect to be asked the question, do you want any appetizers? Because chips and salsa, that's not an appetizer. That just comes with a meal.
You ever think about the fact that chips, you eat 4 corn chips, you have eaten an entire tortilla?
Wow.
So if you eat a lot of chips, you're just eating like dozens of tortillas. Like if we really considered that, I don't think we would eat as many chips as we do.
That's
if
incredible.
You expect nothing, you'll always be pleasantly surprised if you get something.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's a good.
That's
good.
So they didn't give you chips?
Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting nothing at this restaurant, and they didn't give us chips and salsa. That was an appetizer. You could choose, and so we go in there, and well, I mean, it didn't help that we had to wait for quite a while before someone even came to lead us to a table, and then finally we were led to a table, and we sat there, I think, for probably about 20 minutes, wondering if we were going to be able to even order anything. There was no water. There was no food. There was no... I don't even remember if there was a menu. There might not have been a menu. And we looked around, and there was a bunch of other people in the restaurant as well. And there was no food on a single table in the entire restaurant. And no chips and salsa. I mean, this is like a Mexican restaurant, and there was no chips and salsa to be seen anywhere.
Sounds like a white privilege problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be, except, it's chips and salsa.
Paying customer kind of thing. Yeah.
So I think we were probably there for 20 to 30 minutes, and no one even came by the table to ask us if we were ready to order.
Was there anyone in the restaurant?
Are you sure
there were
that
other
you weren't
there
in a
were
gas
other
station?
customers.
Were there employees?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know. You know, that's the
this a
thing. I
was this
don't know if there were any employees.
Was
when it
this a
comes down to
ghost
it.
restaurant, like a ghost ship, but a restaurant version of that?
Well, we're
Chips
not by the
ahoy.
Chips
Chips
ahoy.
ahoy.
we don't live by the
Ghost
coast, and
pirates.
so there wasn't any ships, unless it was like, I don't know, like a spaceship or something. Because I guess you could have a spaceship port in Greenville, South Carolina.
That joke is dumb. You
You
told a dumb joke, Mike.
I did.
Yeah. Our jokes have been golden this episode, but that was a really dumb one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
All jokes that involved aliens and spaceships, they're just patently not funny.
That's too bad because that's all I've got.
So what happened next, Mr. Mike? Tell us the rest of the story.
Please.
Is that it? You just sat there.
We're talking about the worst restaurant
You're
experience.
still sitting there to this day.
And I'm there right now.
It's about 5-6 years later, and I'm still I'm sitting
Jeremy
in an
said,
empty
check
building.
your privilege. He whispered, check your privilege under his breath.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Some
It doesn't
people,
matter. It doesn't matter what country you're in. When you go to a food service establishment, you don't wait 30 minutes without anybody even talking to you.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Unless it's like a really fancy French restaurant.
That
and
could
then,
be.
Then they slap you and they spit on you, and you're like, "Thank you very much. Here's $50."
And they force feed you snails. That's something I know about French restaurants.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
We left.
You left?
We didn't get any food. We were very hungry.
Did anyone around you get food?
No.
Huh.
There wasn't a
Wait.
single
guys go to
single bit of
Fuddruckers.
food in sight in the entire restaurant.
I wonder if like the people who ran the restaurant, if like they had a family emergency. Like what if like Franco in the back like cut his arm off. He was chopping lettuce and he just cut his arm off, and they had to, the whole staff had to rush him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you
I
guys
was
are sitting
thinking
there
about
like,
that kind of thing.
where's our
Like,
food? And there's a man literally dying because he was trying to
Yeah.
make you good food.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying
Yeah,
it was
what
a,
about
it was a
that?
bad restaurant experience. Honestly, it is. When you go into a restaurant and you don't get any service for 20 to 30 minutes,
Yeah.
that tends to be a pretty bad experience when it comes to restaurants. But I agree with you. You definitely want to think about, especially if you've heard a lot of good reviews about a place, and that's what you experience. I think my mind definitely goes to something happened here. There's definitely something out of
Yeah.
the ordinary, and I think that it's a good idea for your mind to go towards compassion. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Did you go back?
No, we never got a chance to, and I think part of that is because it closed down shortly afterwards. So
I
maybe
wonder
maybe
why.
it wasn't.
Can I tell my story?
No.
Of course.
Oh, there was two negative.
Okay, so at my school, that shall remain unnamed, so I guess it's kind of a restaurant, the dining common, because they made food and you kind of bought it in a roundabout
Dining
way.
common.
Yeah, so I used to work on grounds crew at my school, and it was really hard work. It was kind of fun though, because you'd like do book learning all day, and then you'd put on your jeans and your green uniform polo, and then go out.
Jeans and greens.
Yeah, and just work in the mud and just get mud all over you and get all wet and cold. And then we'd go to the
That's how
dining
Southern you
common,
sound.
and I'd be so hungry, I would just eat like 5 trays of food. And it was so good. Like, it was not good food, but it tasted amazing after working outside for like 5 hours in
Yeah.
the rain.
That's the thing about dining commons is the food sucks, but it really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's so tasty.
Yeah. So they used to do this thing, and they do it in fast food restaurants. This is not like a special thing, but they called it chicken fries.
Ooh,
And
chicken fries.
how chicken fries works is you take chicken, You shred it into little bits like that are shaped like French fries, and then you deep fry them. And I must have had 2 platters worth of chicken fries. They tasted really good. I was really hungry, really cold. Been really cold that day. I think we were putting up like Christmas lights or something. And tasted real great going down. But then, around the evening, getting ready for bed, not feel too good. And
get the bag.
Basically, my life was chicken fries for the next 2 days.
Ooh.
To the point that I had to skip out of classes. I had to quit work. I had to go to the hospital on campus. That was my worst experience, and I've never eaten chicken fries since because I don't care how well they're prepared or how tasty they are or how little I eat them. The only thing I can think of is just 2 days of just intestinal agony. And I don't know what happened. I asked around. No one else got sick. So I don't know if it was like food poisoning or if it sure felt like food poisoning, but maybe I just got one bad one, or maybe I was just sick and my body was just rejecting whatever I'd eaten. I could never really figured it out, but I think I did even have a fever, so it was probably illness. It probably had nothing. The chicken fries were probably totally not at fault.
Probably was illness.
But
it definitely wasn't the chicken fries. Anybody who likes chicken fries out there knows that it wasn't the chicken fries.
You know what, Mike? I would agree with you, except I had such a bad experience. I am racist against chicken fries. And I hate them, and I don't like people who like them.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That makes me very sad.
Do you like chicken fries?
You'll never work for Burger King.
No, I don't actually.
Good.
I don't like any
Jeremy.
sort of chicken that's in the shape of something that's not chicken.
Jeremy, do you like chicken fries?
I compartmentalize a lot, so I don't really know what I like anymore.
Well, that's a good answer. But I do like Zaxby's. Every time I go to South Carolina, I get Zaxby's because that's delicious. Because it's the one fast food where you get a piece of toast with your food.
Yeah, toast.
Texas toast.
Yeah.
Which means it's fried with lots of butter. How do you fry toast?
You take it and you put it in a fryer. And then it's like frying food is like the most simplistic culinary thing. It's like, well, first you take the food, and then you put it in the fryer, and then you pull it out, and then you eat it.
That's
simple.
it. That's a really good explanation of.
Could write a cookbook like how to fry food.
That's the next
Make
podcast.
the grease very, very hot. Put your food in the grease. Wait for a certain amount of time. Wait until it is brown. It is golden brown enough for your, Well, I know breading is part of it too. I think you do that first. And then
That's
anyway, we could go on and on, but that's not our subject. Our subject is bad restaurant experiences.
Yeah,
I think
frying stuff is best restaurant experiences.
I think it's Jeremy's turn. Jeremy, you got to speak up into the mic.
I don't know if I can think of a singular, the most unpleasant or bad experience at a restaurant I've ever had. I can't. There's several. There's
so many.
Yeah, there's fragments here and there. Like this little bit here was miserable, and I'll never forget it. This little bit here and there was miserable, and I'll never forget that. But like a collective bad experience at a restaurant, I don't know. I have a bad story I could tell you that would be entertaining.
I don't know if we want to go into it though. There are certain
way you prefix that one.
There are certain people we know who are involved that we don't want to hurt their feelings. So.
Oh dear.
Let's do it anyway.
Oh
yeah.
Don't hurt.
Okay, I will tell you one story from my childhood. That's not.
You can always make it anonymous. That's an option.
This one story from my childhood. It was a bad experience at a restaurant. But I think of it fondly now, and it's funny how 10 or 15 years can change your perspective on something. At the time, everybody was miserable. But to be honest, I laughed at the time. I thought it was funny at the time, but the family, the official familial position on the story is that it was bad. But I laughed, and I still laugh. We were at a Burger King. I was like 12. And my sisters were younger. They're a few years younger than me. I really don't know their birthdays because I'm a bad person. But anyway, we were at a Burger King there several years ago, and we were eating our meal. There was nothing to note. It's just a Burger King.
Was it a Booger King?
It's just a Burger King.
I used to call it Booger King to gross out my sister when I was little.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
I don't want to tell a story now.
No, tell your story. I was just interjecting.
Yeah. No, it's just a generic. It was just a generic experience, a general American experience at a Burger King, lower middle class Burger King Sunday afternoon meal. And then the meal was over, and we were just letting it digest. We were just like we lean back a little bit in our plastic hollow chairs and stare at the ceiling and go, "Ugh," after stuffing ourselves, you know. Everybody, it was the one meal of the week where we just did whatever we wanted, and we didn't care, and we didn't think about it. And then my dad leaned to the side and just let one go. And because
let what go, Jeremy?
He let it go.
What?
Let it go. Let it go.
What did he let go?
The inner machinations of his sin nature. He just
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
He just let it go, and the seat was hollow, and it just vibrated. Yeah, and it had this reverb to it. And at the time, the Burger King had big glass windows, and there was a big play place outside for little kids with boogers all over their faces to jump in a ball pit, you know. And I swear the reverb hit the glass, and I could see it. It's not a special. It's not a special story, but the sound waves. I swear I could see the reverb in the glass. It's not special. I'm not making it up. It's just average night. And then my mom looked at my dad and said, "Wendell!" And my sisters got really embarrassed, and I was sitting there going, and I laughed like that for like 20 minutes. And my mom, on the way home, I was laughing that way. And my mom said, "Jeremy, stop it. It's not funny. It's inappropriate. It's very embarrassing what your father did." And my dad was just stone silent. He was like a machine. He made no facial expressions, no vocal inflections, nothing. And I observed my dad that evening, where he made a social faux pas, and he was cool with it.
Nice.
And he's like, my dad doesn't care. My dad is awesome. I want to buy my dad a pair of sunglasses. Now, that
sounds like a great restaurant story.
Well, that's a quote-unquote bad restaurant experience, but I loved it. Now, the family group says, bad restaurant experience. Bad. But I loved it. I could tell you like 2 or 3 more stories that are kind of like that, and they get more and more personal where I am personally upset by them, but they're gross. It's like worse than that. So
yeah. That was supposed to be worst restaurant experiences, not best.
There was one real quick one. It's more like a tidbit or a little piece. A few years later, I was in Tennessee, and we were at an all-you-can-eat buffet with my grandparents and my cousins and my uncles and my aunts. And my cousin, he goes up to the buffet, and he reaches in with his hands and grabs a fistful of corn. And, yeah, and my grandpa, who has no filter, my grandpa gives no craps. He does what he wants. He says what he wants. My grandpa shouts at the buffet, "Chris, get your booger hooks out of the corn!" And everybody in the restaurant just stopped eating, dropped their forks, and turned and looked at us. And a couple of people got up and walked. Got up and walked out. And it didn't gross me out. Once again, I was laughing.
Yeah.
But, get your booger hooks out of the corn! And that's the end of the tidbit, because my brain decided to just quit paying attention after that, and I don't remember really much after that.
They may have had to quarantine their restaurant.
Get your booger hooks out of the corn!
Quarantine.
This man said there were hooks in the food, and possibly boogers.
Booger hooks, referring to fish.
We don't know what booger hooks are.
It's not.
But we assume that they are fish hooks with boogers on them.
It's not funny if I have to explain it.
I guess it.
Yeah.
That's a really weird way to describe hands.
Booger hooks. Get your
How often do you use your hands to excavate? I mean, We don't want to get too gross on
What-
it.
Well,
what else would you
the
use?
diameter of the nose and
Yeah.
the diameter of the finger are the same.
Yeah,
That's
true.
a design. That's a function.
God designed us that way.
You're supposed to get in there and dig it out, man.
I think he also designed wood so that we could eventually figure out how to make it into Kleenexes.
Yeah, but that's like 35 steps. The finger and the nose is one step.
Yeah, we used to use Kleenex to make books, and it was like the most expensive. Like, you have written your language on paper to give it to your generations, and now we use it to replace our fingers for.
And other things.
That almost sounded negative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Optimism. Let's do that. Why not?
No, it's too late. We already picked one. So
Yeah.
I think
We decided against optimism.
our podcast is coming to an end.
Shut it off. Shut it down.
If you're still listening to us, congratulations! You've done it. I don't know what you've done, but you've done something.
You did something, man.
Congratulations, you've won. I don't know what they won.
Nothing.
You've won a prize.
You'll
You'll just have to wait around for
episode
another
1.
10 minutes and find out what your prize is.
Your prize was listening to our podcast.
Yep.
That's a good prize, really, if you think about it.
When you listen to episode 1, you won.
Great job. Great job.
Great job.
Oh, boy.
Well, it sounds like those jungle animals are getting near us. We're going to have to get back into our treehouse.
Yeah.
This
You know what? We need a
tropical
sponsor.
rainforest gets dangerous at night. Are we going to stop or?
I don't know. I think I was just
Mike.
eaten by a lion or something.
Oh no.
You're listening
Quick,
to Probably
pull
Okay.
Mike out of the lion's mouth. Grab his arms, Jeremy.
Okay, I'm grabbing
Pull.
I'm pulling on
Ah.
his body to get him out of the jungle.
We pulled him out.
He's safe now.
Oh, good. Mike, close this out.
Mike is safe now.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to our first podcast, episode 1 of Topical Rainforest. I'm Mike, and
I'm Sean.
And I'm Billy D. Williams.
It's very quiet, very tiny Billy D. Williams.
Hey, thank you
And
all for tuning in.
our friend Billy D. Williams.
Oh, you know
We'll
it.
see you next time.
Anytime.
He's going to be in
Anytime.
episode in Star Wars Episode 9. I'm super pumped.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I bet
We'll
he's going to
see you
turn on the Millennium Falcon
next.
and be like, "Hey, L9, I remember you from the Solo movie." And she'll be like, "I want freedom." Okay, we should probably
I want
quit.
freedom. Give me freedom.
We'll see you next time
Robot rights.
I want freedom.
for episode 2
Okay.
of a bunch of the same nonsense.
Bye.
I
Farewell.
don't-
Come
don't
visit
think-
us again in our jungle.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night, good night.
I don't think
Okay, I'm stopping the recording now.
I don't think that we should say goodbye in our podcast. That's a little weird.